Shout out to BABATV. Shout out to Sarnetta. Always bringing us exclusive information to the people. You know what I'm saying? Always educating, always informing, and always inspiring, and never retiring. Peace, love and life, family. It's your brother Sankofa, you know what I'm saying? Representing the House of Consciousness. Now, anybody that knows me knows very well that I get around. I get around like Digital Underground. You know what I'm saying? I've been from Scarred Boulevard to Pissy Project Halls to the Avenue, and right now to the Plantation. From the projects to the Plantation. Literally, you know, I get around. I know a lot of different people, good brothers and sisters, and people that I network in my journey. You know what I'm saying? And where my journey brought me at today specifically is in a specific area in North Carolina. It was interesting just driving by. I happened to see, you know, a plantation. You know what I mean? An actual slave quarters. This is where we at right now, people. Actual slave quarters right here. Let me show you. Actual slave quarters. Right here, Shaw Cabin, 1810 to 1825. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. North Carolina, a lot of history here, man. A lot of history here with blacks in general, but specifically, you know, antebellum South and slavery. You know, where we're at right now, it's not in a major city like Raleigh or you know, Charlotte. This is like really in the cut. So, you know what I mean? This is like really deep south country, deep backwoods, whereas some cities are so modernized, you don't really see slave plantations. You know what I mean? Like you would here. But here's one of them old southern towns in the cuts, one of them little smaller towns, not major modern southern cities, but one of the older ones where you would have plantations, you know, still. Or remnants or a relic of one, or, you know, historic landmarks and historic sites where people still visit. So it's just interesting. And me coming through here, just checking this out. Like, wow, right? Like a real plantation. The big house, in other words. You know, the big house, you know, it's separated. You know, the picket white fence, you know, from the house right outside of it. Yeah. Now, this is just a historic landmark now, but just to give you a little understanding of dynamics of how the dichotomy of, you know what I'm saying, the suburban area or the upper middle or the upper suburban areas, and how the inner city areas are divided, just like in slavery in the antebellum South. You had the big house and you had the plantation. You see what I'm saying? They're divided. I'm sure the people that were occupants on this side of the plantation weren't allowed over here unless with special clearance or what have you, or unless they were a house servant, you know what I'm saying, and given specific and direct orders to interact with the people on this side. So there was a divide, and this divide now is just only a bigger, broader, more corporatocracy oriented type of divide, you know what I'm saying, in this capitalist government and regime. But the dynamics, you see its origins, where it was woven into the social, political, and economic fiber and reality of America, started right here on a lot of the plantations in the South, where you had right here what would be like the suburb or the downtown, the place where commerce and all that, or big wigs or the people who ran the system dwelled and lived, in the play area where the undesirables, the people who were cut off from, you know, that wealth, that privilege, and that side of the fence, you know, were over here, you know. Just give it a look. It's deep. I had to film this, you know what I mean? I came around, I said, yo, this is ill. Real plantation, huh? Look at that. We're gonna go on the porch, check it out, and see what it's really like. You digs? Like a little construction work going here. It's deep. The McNeil cabin house. The McNeil cabin house. Circa 1820 to 1850. You know what I'm saying? That's deep, fam. Like when you really consider the history. Oh, there's a cotton gin over there. The cotton gin was invented by no other than Eli Whitney, a black inventor, actually born in Massachusetts, my native town. You see the Patriots hat, yo. But it's interesting. Just a little bit of black facts, real briefly, about North Carolina, right? It's interesting, you know, the term, we hear the term racism. We also hear the term race riots. And in those times, there were a lot of race riots. A lot of the European immigrants coming to America, especially in the late 1800s. The black population who were just newly, a population who were just granted and allocated to them citizenship by the government. So they were like newly accepted citizens, you know what I mean? And the controversy in living amongst them, discrimination, racism, you know what I'm saying? All those things was going on major, like back then in those times, you know what I mean? And a lot of race riots took place as a result, okay? And the term race riot itself, which is interesting about North Carolina, is the term was coined right here. And as a result of what was known as the Fusion Party. The Fusion Party was a political organization of black Republicans then, and white Republicans known as the Populist Party. They weren't integrated together, but they coordinated and networked together. All right, this is after black people were granted by the federal government citizenship. So they had the right to vote, and they utilized their right to vote to their advantage, and they utilized some Caucasians in another political party called the Populists, and together they were able to elect certain legitimately elected black officials to public office. And as a result, the red shirts were white nationalists, Democratic KKK, and white nationalist groups and white supremacist groups that were under the paradigm of the political party of the Democratic Party. There was the red shirts, which was like a military wing of them, and they were engaged in a lot of intimidation, murder against blacks who were trying to vote, and even Caucasians who were trying to organize blacks to vote. But as a result of the Fusionist Party, what transpired was a legitimately elected black person to public office, and as a result, a riot took place. Now, mind you, this is before Rosewood. This is before Rosewood took place in Florida, right? This is the first successful coup d'etat. The first successful coup d'etat took place right here in America. It was 1898, right in Wilmington, North Carolina. All right. And the term race riot was coined as a result of the murder, the bloodshed, and the massacre that transpired there as a result of black people as newly as new citizens to the United States of America, utilized their right to vote and elected one of their own to public office. And as a result, you had one of the illest riots that took place before Rosewood right here in Wilmington. And it's just interesting because as I'm down here in North Cap, I just ride by a plantation and I'm doing this freestyle. I'm filming this on the phone. There's no camera crew here. I'm like just getting around like, boom, this is not formal. So, you know, bear with me, family. Y'all know I'm loquacious. I like to build. I like to talk. I like to get my point across. But I also want to bring some of this information to you, some of this footage to you. You know what I mean? A lot of our people, imagine what they had to go through living out here. And this is just a remnant. It's been modernized and I'm sure updated and upgraded and other different things, you know what I'm saying, to keep the maintenance up. So when tourists come here and visitors come here to see it, you know, it keeps its essence, but at the same time, you know, it's not on the level that it was or looked the way it did then. I'm sure there was a lot bigger then because there were slaves here. This is a cotton gin. Look at this. This is deep. This is deep, family. A cotton gin. A real cotton gin. All right. Now we look at that. It says pre-Civil War cotton gin. Okay, this is a pre-Civil War cotton gin. You know what I'm saying? So you know they was out here working hard. Look at over there again. You see the big White House, money, commerce, those who were in power, and the side of the people who were the underclass of society, the undesirables, the oppressed and the enslaved. And in this community right over here, if you look right over to in the back of me, you see the white building right there. That's a church. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So with the plantation, just the same way you have your downtown, and then you have your inner city, you have your White House, and then you have your flats, your, you know, lower class looking and built type of homes where the slaves lived, just like now. You have the inner city, which is a lot of times abandoned, ran down, especially in some cities like Baltimore, Philadelphia, Detroit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of places have been gentrified now. That's no doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? Boston, how it used to look. You know what I mean? But it was always the dynamic of the suburban and then the inner city. The dynamic between the financial district and the urban underclass, social underclass, organized like that by social and political design. But we see the template of where that happened at was right here in the South on plantations, where you had the big house, and then right on the other side, you have the slave house or the slave quarters made of more inferior type of wood and other things in which it's built with. So, you know, it has a less architectural, you know, type of aesthetics to it. And just like the inner city now compared to the upper class, opposed to the socially designed underclass that exists. But anyway, family, I just want to let you know, yeah, brother Sankofa be on the road, always doing my thing, always networking. Even if you don't see me in front of the camera all the time, definitely understand and know and believe that I'm always on the ground. You know what I'm saying? I'm always getting around, networking. Shout out to all my peoples everywhere. New Haven, Connecticut, Boston, Mass, back home already, you already know, no doubt. Shout out to BABATV. Shout out to Sarnetta. Always bringing this exclusive information to the people. You know what I'm saying? Always educating, always informing, and always inspiring, and never retiring. We're going to keep it going. You know what I'm saying? So stay tuned as I travel and journey out here in North Cackalack, where I'm at right now. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to bring it to you live. Tomorrow I'm at the African American Day Parade, and we're going to go up there and talk with some of the people about some critical issues affecting black people, and it's going to be right here live exclusively on the House of Consciousness, baby. Peace, love, and black power. Love and light, family.